Hello everybody and welcome to PGL Tavern Tales Spring Edition. My name is Nimsh and I'm here with Raven and Lothar, and we bring to you this amazing Swiss tournament where people qualified with 32 people, and this is already round 4 of Swiss. Most of the matches are finished, but we still have one more match to play. Gaara versus Freakeh. Guys, what do we know about them?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I was busy winning back there, so just let your Raven talk.
I was going to say, like you can view the VODs on Twitch, right? Can't get away with that one.
Yeah.
But no, two names pretty prominent in the scene. Freakeh, part of SK, had a lot of top 16 and a few top 8 finishes in some tournaments over the past year or so, but never quite, gone further than that, I would say, from all the tournaments I remember anyway. So definitely wanting to progress in this tournament and really just push forward, and definitely want to qualify today at least and then secure that spot for tomorrow and then move on from there.
Absolutely. And Lothar, who do you think is favorite in this matchup overall? Is it Gaara who won Bucharest before, or?
Usually I would say Gaara, but he likes to mix it up with some different decks, and then, it goes a different way than predicted. Usually Gaara really plays very well, but his odd deck choices sometimes are biting him back, because he chooses to play against the meta, but it's like a very hateful way, which punishes the decks that he thinks that will be played the most, but then he meets something that he didn't predict it, and he's just being punished himself.
But he has a chance, if he actually predicts correctly, he has a chance to counter the meta game, and then he has a chance to win the tournament. The game is already starting, so the first we're going to see a matchup, Warrior versus Druid. Freakeh on Druid, Gaara on the Warrior, which seems Patron.
Yeah, kind of interesting to see Gaara's lineup in total, which is actually Warrior, Warlock, Druid.
That's the first time I see him playing
yeah, exactly,
Warrior ever, I think.
Well, when we saw that there were 0 Hunters, I was like, Gaara is here, right? He is playing, because he's one of the guys who actually likes to stick with Hunter and do some fun things with that. And also, again, known as a Shaman player, and once more, he's actually just brought the top 3. So maybe he's just decided to, stick to tried and tested and just hope, his actual just sort of raw skill can power through whilst using, what's deemed the best decks overall.
Opening the game is Dance's Aspirant. We'll see how that goes, because there's no answer to it, at least for now. Unless...
No.
No, not really. By the way, Freakeh is playing Rogue, so I want to see what kind of Rogue is he playing. And he was playing a lot of Rogue on ladder. He has a lot of top ladder finishes with Rogue specifically, just plowing through people and getting to those top 10s easily.
Yeah, and this match, the Patron Warrior versus the Druid, is definitely an interesting one, where if the Patron Warrior can actually build up the Patrons onto the board, it becomes very, very difficult for the Druid to deal with. But the second the Warrior doesn't hit the Patrons in time, then the Druid can just do, what Druid does, just build up the board with a lot of mid-range minions, and then just power through combo later. So it's not like Control Warrior, where they can just build up so much health that they don't have to be as fearful of combo. It's much harder in Patron Warrior, so definitely an interesting one. And this Ghoul coming down I kind of like, makes the trade kind of awkward. And even if the Ghoul eats Wrath here, that's a sort of a win for the Patron Warrior, because Wrath is one of those key cards that can just completely remove a full health Patron off the board.
Yeah, this is a funky turn, because on one hand you might want to play Innervate Druid of the Claw in turn form, but on the other hand you will not be able to kill the Ghoul if you do it. And if you just keep the Ghoul on board, there is a possible Acolyte of Pain just coming down next. It could be Troublesome. You don't want to give your opponent more cards.
Exactly. So I don't blame him for actually playing different type of Druid that you should be, right? Because you usually just want to curve out, you don't care about the opponent's minions, just go face, deal damage, play your own minion, and that's it. And then you can take back the initiative after playing the minions with Savage Draws, Swipes, and Wraths. But in this situation it was completely different, and that was a good decision by Freakeh.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting as well, because we're at the point now where the Frothing Berserker is really good against Druid on turn 3, because they don't normally have a good way of dealing with it. Yeah, and I was going to say, I think it might actually force a sort of bad innovate, I'll call it, because you actually float in 1 mana, but it's needed, and that's actually going to mess up his curve just a little bit, because what he probably wanted to do was just drop Shredder this turn, Druid of the Claw next turn, innovate boom the turn after, which would have been really powerful. But again, this just respecting the Frothing Berserker there, and to be fair, Freakeh does still have a pretty good board. It's still going to require answering and going to pressure quite a lot.
Absolutely.
There's no easy way to deal with those minions. It's too two whirlwind effects, or just attack with a weapon which still deals damage, right? So
What did you think about the potential there of actually frothing Berserker execute on the 4-2 and like reset that same turn again? And see, you know, like, can you answer this frothing Berserker the second time? Because he obviously didn't have swipe,
yeah,
or he wouldn't have innovated out the Druid of the Claw. You know, more than likely would have kept hold of that innovate. So really interesting. Lothar going to come down now just to lock out any shenanigans on turn 5. But without the Death Bite, you know, there's not going to be tons of patrons being spawned anyway.
That execute would probably work a bit better there, knowing that there is Lothab, and because right now Gaara can just passively play minions and just still keep taking damage. But on the other hand, if Freakeh just attacks, oh wow, there is a silence as well available to him for the future. But he's just racing Gaara, just going for face and saying to Gaara, hey, you either deal with my minions or you're dead, and I still have Force of Nature, Savagery, those cards.
Yeah, and the thing about this style of play, obviously it's worked because, you know, he's curving really well. You know, the patron hasn't got the weapons, which I think the Death Bite is just the single best card in this matchup for the Warrior. But what he's doing as well is like, does he have Savage Draw? Does he not have it? It doesn't matter. You've got to play around it if you can anyway. And there's, you know, a certain aspect to Hearthstone where you can actually just fake out cards you've got in your hand based on how you choose to play each turn.
So Gaara has a couple of options here. He will be able to Whirlwind Execute and Armor Smith, and I think you just start with Armor Smith and then run your 4-1 into the 4-3 to see what is going to drop. And then if there is something nasty like a taunt, you might still Whirlwind and Execute Lothab. If there is not, you might... Oh, is he going for a 4-3 first? If he decides that he absolutely wants to trade the 4-1 into Lothab as well, then probably doesn't matter which Shredder he attacks first.
Yeah.
But I would like to see an attack with a 4-1.
Oh.
Oh, this means that there might actually be a Whirlwind, but he sucked first. Like, those animations take some time. And the rope is running away.
oh, and a 2/4 minions being spawned. Oh, look, two outcomes from publishers are exactly identical.
Interesting, yeah. But it really worked for Gaara, and he was super fast with that APM, just being able to actually kill everything.
It is an important aspect in
Through the
playing
roof.
Hearthstone.
Apparently, well, we've seen Moody actually whiff and not being able to do everything.
We
That's
saw
very true.
Crane during last weekend whiffing and not playing Dr. Boom when he had 7 mana and didn't do anything with that 7 mana.
Well, last week I've seen Sixto actually having a lethal puzzle on board and not doing it as well because he didn't have enough time versus Dice.
Oh, too bad.
He had lethal on board and didn't do it.
That lack of APM. So these two minions are really strange as well because it's going to almost force each player into hero power in each turn, which is probably better for the warrior than the druid because there's not always something you just want to poke as the druid. Instead, you use the mana to the full effect. Whereas at this point, the warrior is definitely going to want to armor up fully.
All right, lore test. How is this card on the left called?
Wait, which card on the left?
The-
Dr. Boom?
The guy on the 2-1
it-
guy.
Argent Watchman.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I don't really
Ju-
know how I
just
knew
check,
that.
just check.
Yeah. I've been doing my homework. Look, every time I cast with you, Nimsh, you always give me questions that I always fail on stream. So I've been working on it.
I did succeed this time. You were as good as this swipe. Unless Dr. Boom is better, but I think I doubt it. Swipe is so good overall.
It's a tough one because I think like on 30 health, like this Berserker can't just kill you, right? You know what I mean? Like
It's not
it-
the old days.
yeah, it can't just come out of nowhere. It can do a lot of damage and maybe kill Boom, but
Mhm.
then you're making him trade it into you and just makes your health total even safer. So I actually wouldn't mind Boom here, to be honest.
My problem with Berserker is that if you do not kill Berserker and just slam Dr. Boom, you enable a better Battle Rage. You give Keeper for free, and then your opponent can just attack into Keeper and Battle Rage for 2. And you want to keep an advantage as Druid at the moment. Like, Warrior is at 19. That's not that much, but it's still a lot. And you need to play a longer game anyway. And you don't want to give Patron many cards, for sure.
Yeah, and the benefit now for Freakeh is that Garrett doesn't have a lot of cards, and he isn't drawing any anytime soon, which has pushed him into just Grom and kill a minion. And then the second there's an answer to that, you know, Garrett's game's probably over from this point. He does have like Acolyte Whirlwind, but you know it's gonna be too much. Like you'd have to draw something incredible for that to pay off. And even now, Sylvanas, I mean, pretty good answer to Grom, as Warrior doesn't normally have a good way to silence minions.
Well, unless she actually takes Acolyte of Pain instead. Oh man, this is so many cards now. So you can Acolyte Whirlwind, then you get a card, then you Battle Rage for 3 cards. You spend 6, you have still 3 more mana. Maybe you can get another small minion. and just kill Sylvanas on your terms.
Let's see what's drawn. Fire War Axe for the one draw off the Acolyte. I think we just do see the battle rage. There was no real question there. And there's a Deathbite at last. Deathbite being so deep in the deck against Druid is crazy.
I think you have to kill Sylvanas here on your own terms. But on the other hand, if he takes Grom, oh man, this is so tough. But then if you don't, the Grom will still attack. The Druid will for sure have a way to deal with the 1-2, and we know he has a way. So you have to kill Sylvanas on your own terms for now. Unfortunate for Gaara, but he did make a correct play.
So now does he just Fire War Axe and face tank?
It's the same. Like this Grom will attack the face for sure. So you might.
Is there any reason not to though?
You
That's
might armor up. Like it's still attacking, right? But
yeah, the problem is you'll die the following turn regardless then. Because the Druid's probably going to put on enough pressure on top of that Grom to get really ahead. There's BGH from Freakeh, but it's not going to do too much, at least on this turn, especially because the Grom dying there. So Dr. Boom Hero Power seems like a reasonable play when your opponent's on 7 health. And even has Savage Roar next turn. So if any of these Boom bots do a reasonable sum of damage to face, even if Dr. Boom just gets sniped, then potentially just Savage Roar and Hero Power can end this game.
Well, so he still has two potential draws from the Acolyte of Pain, right? So there might be an option to get a slam, an example, into an execute, and still kill both of the bombs, and maybe just get 1 damage. So here's an option to survive, but it's a ongoing problem against the Druid that you are able to survive this turn, but you know. You just drops a minion.
Yeah, and the problem is as well, I think like you can only really draw once from the Acolyte, because don't you like have to run it into Boom, right? Because you have no other way of proccing execute.
If you want to win, you would need to attack the bomb, get a slam, get a double chance of getting a slam, and the slam into execute or something like that, you know?
Yeah, but that Boom is the Boom bot. Sorry, is just going to hit into Boom.
Yeah, that's a whiff though. He wanted to the play was okay, but he wanted to activate the bombs, and the bomb maybe hitting Acolyte to draw 1 more card, or be able to draw execute off the top, and the bomb hitting Boom, right? So there was a couple of
well, there was an option that both Boom bots would just kill the Dr. Boom, right? Is it just a matter of calculating the chances? What is better? Should I go for the double draw of the Acolyte, maybe to get the chance to, top deck or get 2 cards that can dig deeper for the execute and the activator for that? Or is it better to just go for the rolling thunder from 2 Dr. Booms and 4 bombs, right? But I think like the latter was less optimistic.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a tough loss because Patron the Warrior is one of the decks that can stop Druid in the last hero standing. So it might even be one of the counters that Gaara brought. I don't know what his Warlock is, if that's a Zoo, but losing Patron at this point and just having Druid take full control over the match is not something you want to see.
I think the problem as well is because this is last hero standing, Patron does pretty well against the rest of the lineup as well, and it's just gone. Right. Like, you've lost a matchup that is normally, I would say, is favoured against like the Patron versus the Druid, and now it's just gone. So Freakeh's decks were Rogue and Warlock. Was that right?
Yeah,
Rogue
he brought
for sure.
Rogue, and I think it was a Warlock. Yes.
Yeah, so just losing out on Patron's going to be pretty rough there, especially for the Warlock. If it's, say, Zoo, for example.
But if it's a Reno Jackson Warlock or other type of control-edge Warlock, then you're not really missing that so much.
That's true, yeah. And Gaara still has his own Druid and his own Warlock, so again, looking at two of the 3 probably most powerful classes. What's really interesting in both of these lineups is no Paladin.
Yeah, well, they did prepare for Paladin, right? With Warrior, with Passable Zoo and Rogue. And so recently, in many tournaments, I've seen Paladin going 0-free. Like even you start winning 2-0 and then you just 0-free with Paladin. But it was Conquest. And here it's a bit different.
Yeah, because if you lose with the Paladin, then it's gone, right? So you can only lose once. And I think that's interesting, though, because it's the way people choose to approach tournaments. Paladin being probably just under Druid in terms of how popular the deck is. And you can actually just build, especially in Conquest, because they have to win with it, can build a lineup around it. Whereas Last Hero Standing's very different in terms of the way you build your lineup.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, so interesting situation. Like, even if Patron would win, then Freakeh still had Rogue as a possible counter to Patron, but we will see. The players are queuing the decks right now, and Gaara has to pick one of his remaining decks where Freakeh just stays with the Druid.
Let's see the outcome. Innervates a Wild Groves, needed.
Yep. I imagine if I imagine Gaara might have locked in his Warlock, so probably going to be Zoo. So if it was me, at least because this is last hero stand, you're against Druid, I would have just locked straight into the Warlock there to try and get the good matchup. But it looks like he's gone Druid instead, so he's gone for the Druid Mirror.
The Druid Mirror is always tricky.
How so? How so?
It's a roulette.
Oh right.
I still think there is a lot of plays that you can make that are conscious plays that can outplay your opponent. But
yeah, of course.
and
Like we saw that in the previous mirror match with the Druids. Who was that?
Moody versus Powder, where Moody was able to come back from, even though he missed Wild Growth, he was still able to come back from free health on the back of very interesting plays. So you can never lose nerve in this matchup. There is still a chance to come back even if you miss a Wild Growth.
Yeah, this is kind of funny though, because both players now, was it both have had Wild Growth, or is it, both has both Aspirin? So both Wild Growth, both Aspirin in hand. So even game, we have a fair Druid game on our hands.
Actually, what I would prefer to see is both players not drawing those ramp cards and see how they struggle. Those are the most.
Wow,
those are
you
the
just
most
want to
interesting
see
games.
them squirm.
Yeah, on the one hand, yes, but on the other hand, those are the most interesting Druid games where you actually have to play cards on curve like everybody else.
Like other mere mortals.
You just want to other people play 26 cards in the deck and have Innervate and Wild Growth in the last 4.
More or less, yeah.
And then you can play any
And you
other
can Wild
class.
Growth into the Innovates right at the end of the game. So this is an interesting one. So the choice here is, do you just play Shredder and sort of just roll with it and just hope he doesn't have as good an answer of you, or do you just play a lot safer, drop the Wrath, and then either Wild Growth or Living Roots? But the Wild Growth definitely more valuable. As you've both been matching each other ramp for ramp, you want to continue with that and try and just beat out the other opponent.
True. And the opponent didn't have the 4-drop, so there's a chance that he will be missing that turn, right? And then you have your 4-drop even.
Regardless.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really interesting to see Gaara playing Druid again. Like, that was his deck for the first DreamHack Bucharest when nobody knew Gaara at the time. Like, we've seen him in some qualifiers somewhere. And then he brought this Taunt Druid that was called Gaara Druid for so long. And he was able to take the tournament with it.
Yeah. There was like 2 Ancient of Wars, every
Sunwalkers.
possible like taunt minion,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, there was 1 Sunwalker, like 2 Test Dingoes. I mean, Senjins. Ridiculous stuff. No one was back then. Almost no one was playing Ancient of Wars. Like the Druid was very aggro
Oriented, yeah.
like mid-range aggro-ish, right? Like the usual way we see it right now. And the class didn't change much.
People actually played Hunter then. Remember those times when Hunter was actually playable?
Don't. I'm still upset.
Well, you know what's funny? Because the first time we started playing Hearthstone in the early beta, Hunter was the worst class.
Yeah, it was. That actually was the worst
completely
class.
the worst class. I was playing it exclusively, just Control Hunter with traps and stuff, and playing Baron Geddon in it.
Apparently you still do in the show.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah, nothing's changed. And then everything changed because Freeze Mage was a thing, Hunter was the counter to it, and then Phase Hunter became a thing because of Unleash the Hounds, and it was like, well, I guess Hunter is a thing now.
Yeah.
And it stayed for many years or months.
So
Well, it was more than a year, okay.
it was a really interesting play last turn from Gaara. He could have, he'd just seen a swipe, and he had the option to do Pilot Shredder Living Roots to generate 2 1/1s. Instead, he played the Belcher, which turned out working okay because I used the Living Roots to turn after as well versus the Druid of the Claw. But I don't know if, again, it's what we talked about before, where if you just drop a Belcher on an empty board, especially versus Druid, it just doesn't feel that great versus a Shredder and 2 1/1s straight after a swipe. So that was an interesting one. We'll see how it actually pays off for him.
Now he got an opportunity to kill Thorison, which is really important, but is this tempo BGH time as well?
Yeah, I think Keep of the Grove BGH is good here. Again,
Yeah.
you've seen a swipe. Your opponent's going to need a Wrath, and then you still have minions left. So I think this is actually really good. Is
But then-
Gaara going to save it, though?
Well,
Oh,
there is
okay.
the possible Dr. Boom coming. Like, you don't want to see Dr. Boom just being slammed on turn 7 for 6 mana. After
Yeah, that's when you
split.
just slam Ancient of War in return and be like, yeah, my guy has more health.
And he still has, what, like, Dr. Boom is super tricky in this matchup, not only because it's Dr. Boom with the bombs, but because of Savage Roar. So, like, even, you can't really ignore it. Like, most matchups, you can just really ignore Dr. Boom and go face, but against Druid, you just can't. Like,
Yeah.
what if there's double Savage Roar?
Yeah, it's so much extra damage. This is kind of cool from Gaara. We see him, doing things slightly differently, I suppose, with the Savage Combatant, which I actually really like as a card. I think it had a tough break because Shredder's a card instead. So I kind of like seeing play. You can get so much value from it because that hero power suddenly does 3 damage, which is pretty huge.
Yeah, but then we have an Azure Drake for 4 mana and double Wrath, where one Wrath can draw a card and kill the 1/2, a second Wrath can just kill the 5/4, and then you can just attack with your Ancient of Lore into a 2/4, and suddenly there is only one single Shredder, and you have a lot of cards, and your opponent has only 2.
Yeah, I like that play. It does use up sort of the better removal in the Druid deck, but this is a pretty scary board, as you said. Like, I imagine just combo next turn, or even just like Savage Roar or something like that. Is definitely a lot of damage combined with the hero power.
Would you consider killing the Shredder instead of Keeper?
I don't think so. I think this is fine.
I think I would like to draw a card actually instead.
I like just to leave a single minion on the board that can drop something on the board back, but you don't take advantage of it the same turn, right? If you would have killed the Palter Shredder, then your opponent still can use the newly spawned minion the same turn, right?
Yeah,
And the thing as well, like, that Shredder was always going into that Ancient of Lore. There was, almost 0 chance of him not making that trade. So why trade into a minion for your opponent when you know they're going to do it the following turn?
I was only thinking because he killed the Keeper of the Grove with the Wrath and attacked into the 1/2 instead. What he could have done was just Wrath for 2, 1/2, draw a card, and then attack into the Keeper. But I guess probably he was playing around Wrath from the other side. That's why he wanted to have Keeper, Ancient of Lore on 4.
On 4.
And Savage Roar, no. Well, you can't really even cycle here. That kinda sucks.
You know what card I miss? Black Knight.
Yeah.
That'll be so good,
It
right?
should make it back, right?
At some point.
Potentially,
at
yeah.
some point. 2 damage to the face, drop Belcher, and pass because he didn't use the Big Game Hunter like the perfect turn, which was
Yeah,
7,
then
right?
why use it now?
Why use it now? Yes, exactly.
Yeah, now the chance of Dr. Boom being in hand is even better. And in fact, Dr. Boom is actually there.
Yeah, and also because there was, it's not like there was a reasonable board for him to have played Dr. Boom last turn. He had other stuff to do, right? So it's not like he missed out on that. And now we do see the ever-loved combo in
And
hand.
it's for 8 mana, so there's potential bigger output of the damage anyway, right? Because you can also use your hero power.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change anything in this situation because the 2 and 3 damage is not clearing up any creature anyway. It's always a combination of 4 and 1 or 4 and 2.
Well, you can always clear board with it, so it's still fine, I guess.
Yeah, I think I like using combo here because is he not going to Savage Roll? Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think I would have just Savage Rolled as well. Just to do the most damage at the turn, and like you said, you clear the board, and when you clear the board against another Druid, you got to be feeling pretty good
The thing is,
when you hold a few minions on as well.
absolutely, but the thing is, he has Dr. Boom still. He was able to almost clear the board, position himself really well with his
my
minions.
god, he plays 2 Big Game Hunters and he didn't use one on turn 7?
Yeah, that's kind of, especially versus Druid.
Yeah.
It's the only target, right? Unless he does the old uproot Ancient of War.
Wow, that's interesting.
Which happened when Admirable was playing it.
Yep. He said in that tournament he did it like 3 or 4 times
Oh, wow.
throughout the whole tournament, which is kind of crazy.
Wow, 2 Big Game Hunters, I didn't see that for a long time. I remember that when Handlock was still a thing, a lot of players were actually playing 2 Big Game Hunters in a Druid, in addition to a 1 Shade, an example.
But I'm actually surprised, Lothar, that you're surprised. You just said it before the match started. This is Gaara we're talking about.
Yeah.
you said exactly that. Like, he is bringing a lot of hateful cards, as you mentioned, and this is exactly Gaara style. Just
Yeah, and I really like the attack with the Shade there from Freakeh. Like, I think, and this is something I know a lot of other players appreciate as well, but holding on to that Shade, like, people do it too much. Like, they just try and hold on. It's like, no, I think you just attack, and your opponent still has to deal with it, and it's still presenting so much more damage, where I feel like a lot of players miss out on that. So this is a really good play. Ancient of War is going to come down, but
finally, first Big Game Hunter! Yeah!
The damage is done. 7 damage to the dome for the Boom's head. But is it enough? It all depends. Wait, is it lethal? Savage Roar, you have...
No, there's
I
no
think
force.
you got to get through the taunt, right?
Yeah, there's a taunt, there's no force.
Yeah, never mind.
So you definitely just see where these bomb scopes, hero power, and Living Roots might clear this up.
That's awkward actually with that bomb.
It's fine. This 3-1 will just hit the 5-7 for 4, and it won't be a problem.
I guess you need to go for it.
Yeah, I don't. Like, can you afford to just throw away the shade? Because you have like 6 damage total, so I guess that feels kind of bad.
Well,
without using the shade.
yeah. What about just Living Roots into the 5-7 attack with a shade and then 3-1 into the 4-2?
And just play the BGH?
I guess, yeah. Because there is like, if the bomb misses, you cannot do anything. I guess
wow.
this is the same like outcome. Bomb will go to face.
Is it?
4?
No, it's actually worse. Okay. Alright, so the shade somehow survived.
But wasn't it better to attack with the bomb first?
No, because you have a bigger chance to actually hit the Ancient of War. And he wanted to hit Ancient of War with the bomb.
Okay.
Yes, that makes sense. But that was risky. He would still have to attack with the shade into Ancient of War if that bomb would miss.
And we're seeing the true power of Innovate late game in the Druid Mirror, where both players have it in hand and have actually 0 use for it. But the Shredder's actually a massive drop here for Freakeh.
Yeah, but honestly, you have to feel for Gaara. Like, he was playing from behind this whole game, and now just getting Innovate at the top. This is the Big Game Hunter Wars.
Yep, it is. Azure Drake into swipe. Let's go.
Oh my god.
That would be pretty good.
Everyone's a bit tense now as we see what the draw is.
Ancient of Lore is okay as well.
Not bad. You can use a swipe if you get it from the draw.
And you have to draw, right? There's like zero value of
chance.
healing, like whatsoever.
Oh
Whoa!
my god.
This is
Gaara,
standard
I beg
Gaara.
you.
Gaara, please.
Oh my god.
Kel'Thuzad. Oh yeah, this is such a great Gaara card.
So those big game hunters won't ever die.
Well, you can actually snipe the Big Game Hunter.
He's still alive. Though he does swipe the shade. But he's still alive though, for now. That's a Wild Grove.
Oh!
Okay, this is a mirror match for sure.
And the
Savage Roar is
interesting
lethal.
thing is that...
Yep.
Oh, never mind.
The interesting thing is this game's over.
I just want to say that probably Freakeh will just attack the face, then Gaara drops the Kel'Thuzad, trades, gets the minions back, and he just needs some form of stabilizing with a taunt, with a second Ancient of Lore to heal himself, and maybe there was a small chance of actually making a comeback, right? But double, like the Innervate draw that he had was clunky as hell. He just skipped one draw basically, and that's a huge deal when you're playing a mirror match and you basically depend on that top deck the most. So it was less impactful for for Freakeh to get his own Innervate because he still had cards on the board and in his hand. So the Innervate was kind of like, who cares? But I still have whatever to play.
Absolutely, but now Gaara is down to his Warlock deck, and I have to say this should not be a Zoo deck. Because if he didn't queue a Zoo versus Druid, and he just let his decks die, like, you would not go into Druid versus Druid coin flip match. Or maybe you do, because his deck was actually a bit different. Double Big Game Hunter, Savage Combatant, Kel'Thuzad.
Yeah, it's a tough one though, because I just don't think it was teched enough or like styled enough to be able to be better than Zoo versus Druid. And it's last year outstanding. If you play Zoo, win. Guess what? You get to play Zoo again, and it's a pretty good deck. We saw that from Tice earlier. So yeah, I would.
It has
I
to
would
be
be very.
Reno
I would be very surprised if it was Zoo.
It has to be Reno Lock, right? Or like a Demon Handlock at least, because Demon Handlock sometimes it's still viable. Like people bring it to the tournament.
Could be anything with Gaara, to be fair.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Dreadsteed.
Malagos.
Dreadsteed.
Dreadsteed deck.
Yeah.
Is that Gaara style?
That's my call.
Greedy. Is that greedy enough? Lothar, what do you think? Which Warlock it is?
Well, it has to have Baron Rivender alongside that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that for sure. That.
We see an egg, but this definitely looks like a Zoo opener.
Yeah, like why would you not queue Zoo into Druid?
Well, he had 2 Big Game Hunters right against that one Dr. Boom, so those are huge chances to kill it.
Okay.
I don't know. To be honest, I'm really surprised that if that's Zoo, why didn't Gaara just bring it? I mean, Zoo, the only way... okay, I'm kind of exaggerating, but most common way of Zoo losing against a Druid is either an Innervate Keeper, and if that doesn't happen,
Yeah.
then it's double swipe.
Well,
Yeah.
basically innervate into something, right? Innervate Keeper, innervate Pilot the Shredder.
Not really, because Innervate Druid of a Clone example is just being crushed by a 2-attack minion with PO. And it's
Shredder
like
mostly.
Yeah, Shred.
I do agree. Root of the Claw, especially if there's PO, not really.
Even with Shredder, you see something like an egg or a token from a creep and then abusive sergeant, and then the trades become so much easier. So yeah, really surprised. But we'll see if he can do some work with his Zoo and reverse all kill Freakeh. But when Freakey's got his own Warlock, which we're not sure of yet, and Rogue as well, Freakey's got to be feeling pretty happy about this set so far.
Absolutely, and Freakeh has a good opening as well with that Wild Growth. He has the follow-up with that Shredder. Actually, Wrath on the next turn, then Shredder into Druid of the Claw and swipe for a possible implosion. Gaara, on the other hand,
Missed turn 1,
he missed
which
turn
is
1.
huge.
But still, this is not a bad hand against the Druid.
No, the hand's okay. It's just I definitely think you want like Flame him turn 1, just to really get it going. And you need to just pressure the Druid constantly, so they need to use mana on like awkward removal as opposed to just chain dropping big minions.
Yeah. Also, this Ingangbos doesn't look good versus a possible Shredder.
It doesn't, that's true, but there's the Direwolf Alpha who can push it to the limits.
Just take it further beyond.
Yeah, exactly.
Good positioning of Darvo Alpha for possible token.
Will be the same.
Probably. Just in case. Yeah. Like if Ingangbos survives somehow.
Ooh,
That's a good keeper.
that's an awesome keeper. But now there's the question: do you silence the egg?
Yeah, you can
And then the
silence.
hero power, right? Yeah, exactly. So Innervate this turn will be going down.
If he goes for yeah. I like it. I like it. Instead, even though he floats 1 mana, that's protecting him from the power of roaming. And also, Keeper of the Grove got buffed. It's a 3/4 now.
My God,
It's
this
a
is so
good card.
standard would look.
Please. Yeah, so what's good about this as well for Freakeh is that in this matchup you find that Force of Nature is actually used to clear more than anything else. You don't have to wait for the combo and do anything like that fancy versus Zoo. You just have to keep the board empty because it's Zoo's only win condition. So Force of Nature coming out in the next turn or so wouldn't surprise me too much. As the Keeper of the Grove there is just used to just clear off the token because even though it's silenced, things like Power Overwhelming and Abusive Sergeant still work versus it and can really push some extra damage.
Yeah, and it sometimes be so great, especially if you have like a Knife Juggler, Darwolf Alpha, and some other minion with 2 health. You just spend 1 card for 3 cards, basically.
Ooh.
Well,
Well, that's
nice
an
to
awesome
center.
draw, right? It's turn 7. Okay.
Yeah, I think there's 6 because Lothar 6/2. I think it's just too good not to kill off, right?
But you
Yeah.
could have traded with the keeper anyway, right?
Well, with
Yeah, I
this,
think you
clear
just
the
prefer
board.
an empty board versus Zoo.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, look at this! So both players got actually Dr. 7 on 7.
Interesting.
Beam
I don't
Hunter?
know. I'm just a favor of playing Dr. Boom on 7 when you can, even when you're kinda behind the board. But he
Well,
could
you will-
have cleared 1 minion, but then your bombs.
Yeah, you rely the snapback, don't you, from
Exactly,
Dr. Boom
exactly.
to just pull the board back the following turn when things trade. So
If I can actually direct your attention to 1 card that Gaara is playing that's not maybe standard in Zoo deck.
Oh, you mean the peddler?
no, the Power Overwhelming.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
Obviously.
Obviously, yes.
I feel dwarfed.
I feel like Gaara likes Big Game Hunter as a card.
Do you think he's playing double in Zoo as well?
It wouldn't surprise me. Probably not, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, he predicted a molten giant heavy meta. Oh, look at this! There's a giant.
Well, that's the thing as well. If you predicted a lot of Zoo, then BGH can actually just win you the mirror because a lot of the time when you play Zoo and they're playing against Sea Giants, whoever gets the Sea Giant down first, it's such a big problem because Zoo can't just deal with it. They need like double PO or PO abusive and minions to throw in, whereas just like BGH and then just move on
Like,
is actually really big.
Honestly, Raven, when I'm thinking about the best possible target in the current metagame for Big Game Hunter, that would be Mystery Challenger. I'm like thinking, I'm playing versus Paladins a lot, and Mystery Challenger happens to have more than 7 attack when it gets hit by Avenge.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of targets in the metagame, and apparently it worked for Gaara before. Right now he's what, at 2-1? This is the 4th round of Swiss. I think they both are 2-1.
I
Yeah, I'm
guess
not
so.
sure.
Yes, Gaara lost 1 match, so
Yeah.
that he has to be 2-1.
Yeah, Freakeh the same. Like he surely lost versus one Shaman. 0-3 versus Shaman.
Now we'll see the Force of Nature have ultimate value, because it even with the bomb. Oh, hey, actually that's a good.
Yeah, that's
good
absolutely
order.
good.
Oh, that's
Miss.
unlucky.
But
the
still,
one target you didn't want to hit.
like you even wanted to hit for one, because then you can finish it off with the shapeshift.
Yep, unlucky.
This is still a good position though for Freakeh, as he has, like it starts to hit the point now where although the Warlock can tap, his singular minions are so much more value.
And before Wind Fury Giant,
Oh my
Raven.
God.
And before.
I'm really not a fan of this, but I appreciate the deck building.
I don't like it, but whenever Wind Fury comes down on 8/8, I can get behind that kind of tech.
I like those though, that he played the Taunt minion and the low tip like in disordering, because the Keeper has even faster immediate effect than the Taunt minion board next turn, right?
Oh my god, he wins like if he gets Wind Fury on one of those minions, he just wins. Like he can even get Wind Fury on the Peddler, and then he just attacks.
Oh my god.
POs, right?
And is there a Wind Fury?
Oh!
But still, that was so crazy.
Well, do you clear?
Hmm.
You will kill the Taunt minion, that's for sure. But do you clear the other minion?
I kind
Or
of
do
like
you just
it.
deal the damage? Because I think if you clear right now and your opponent finds a Big Game Hunter, then you will lose the game.
Why? You are Zoo at 20 health versus Druid.
And Druid might just finish you off with one minion. That's the problem.
Which one? You have Implosion.
You don't see the card in his hand.
Yeah,
You
but
don't know
if
what he has.
there's a Big Game Hunter just that hits your board, you will have to play Ancient of War. That would be the worst case scenario for you, a 5/10. And you still have a 3/2 minion on board, and Implosion, and you can tap. So I think clearing is absolutely correct here. Not to mention that Big Game Hunter might not be there, and you just win without it.
Well, we'll see.
So we can actually clear off the 8/8 now with Force of Nature and Keep of the Grove, and I'm pretty confident that's what he's going to do. It's the only thing that's going to really keep him alive.
Yeah.
And to follow up, now he's just going to rely on the Zoo, just not tapping into anything too heavy. The 2/4 challenges the 3/2 on the board, and Ancient of Law next turn into going to be a tough one versus card draw versus heal. But you're probably not expecting Doom Guards in this deck. So maybe you feel a bit more safe with card draw. I don't know what he's got left actually. Does he even have a swipe left?
I think he...
He's
he
used
only
one, definitely,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's actually a good draw. Because you have another chance to get the swipes.
Exactly. And Swipe will actually be able to stop this board.
Yeah, let's go for it. You don't have anything else. Just draw the cards. See what the Lady Luck will bring you.
Yeah, I think the heal just... I mean, he's not dead on board now, just about. But the heal just delays the game one turn. He's probably going to be in this situation again next turn, so it just really just stalls it out as opposed to doing anything proactive
And
to move forward.
You're right, and it diminished the value of Innervate.
Yeah, and Innervate's just becomes a dead card probably.
Yes,
isn't it?
exactly. So you want to get the value out of Innervate, because like this is the perfect turn to use the Innervate, apart of course of turn 1
Yeah.
and 2.
Yeah.
Also, you're not dead on board. Like if you...
Two off with hero power.
Exactly. So...
Go
yeah,
for it!
absolutely, that's what he has to do. He's Freakeh.
Because I think my worry is like if he heals, like what singular top deck could he get? Wild Growth is absolutely terrible. Shade is kind of rough.
Well, play Shade anyway.
Yeah,
So
use that Innervate.
let's see.
Now Gaara just
2
needs
damage is needed.
2 more damage. So no Doom Guards in this deck. What else is there? Any buffs? Abusive. Defender
Still a
Vargas.
PO left, right?
One more
One
PO
PO,
should be
yes.
there, yeah.
This is why I didn't like the trading, with the loaded. It's 8 damage to the face. Why not just deal the damage?
Oh,
guys, so
there's 2 damage.
Alright, so Gaara is able to survive with a very good matchup that he somehow held for the last game.
Yeah, that's true, because the double Sea Giants are just like such a menace for the Druid player, right? How do you deal with that?
Double
Well,
Big Game Hunter.
Yeah, well, that if Gaara would land his deck to Freakeh, then maybe that would be a good choice. But otherwise, like, I guess I can't really deal with this 8/8 unless I will have 2 swipes.
We don't know if they have played tested together. Maybe they actually have similar decks. And Freakeh just had Big Game Hunter, Kolhozada, and Savage Combatant as the last 3 cards.
Yeah, That's possible.
The thing with the Giants as well is because a lot of the time, unless you're really behind, then you're in problems anyway. You can get them off so cheap that you can do other things that turn as well. Because Zoo's just good at filling out his curve with the constant tapping and all the low curve minions anyway. So I think I really like this deck. I've not played it too much, but I think it could go pretty far.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And it's really interesting to watch it. And that one turn when he played Enhanced Meccano, just one Wind Fury, even on the Peddler, would just win the game.
But there are 4 keywords, right, that you can spawn.
Taunt,
Taunt,
Divine Shield,
Divine
Wind Fury.
Shield, Wind Fury, and...
That's it, is it?
That's
So
it.
3,
3?
right? Yeah, because it won't be charge. Charge isn't a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. Yes. Okay, so that was quite a lot of chances, actually, to get that. Bang! Double Divine Shield, you're a Paladin now.
All right, so there is one other interesting matchup that we'll probably see and we can discuss. How do you guys feel about Rogue versus Zoo? Lothar first.
It's kind of the same situation as in Druid. Do you have Keeper, Innervate, which in this case it's Backstab Agent. It
Yep.
feels very similar, right? It's huge amount of damage that can help you with the board. The problem is you don't have the silence that is needed against the eggs. But if you can trigger the egg on your own terms and then clear it out with a single Eviscerate, the Backstab Agent, or you have the Sap to get the tempo advantage on a creature like Pile the Shredder or the egg itself, it's still fine. But what you need also is to take it into consideration that the implosion will be a huge factor if you don't have a Fan of Knives. So it's like a back and forth, because Rogue has to get the answers. He either relies on his own minions with preparation on the back, right? An example,
Yeah.
Violet Teacher, or they are relying on the possibilities of board clear. So backstabs, agents, Fan of Knives, Deadly Poison, Blade Flow.
So 50-50.
I would say it depends on both skills of the players, because
Unless you
know,
play Rogue, and then it's definitely 60-40 to the Rogue.
if you're playing a rogue,
True.
almost every single time that you'll be saying, yeah, it's at least 60-40 at least. So yeah.
All right, so Raven, this is actually a Warlock versus Warlock.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because one of the key cards in this matchup, the key cards are the Sea Giants. They're huge because it's just so much easier to get them off because there's normally so many minions on the board. But also Implosion, and they both have Implosion. So I think they're really close now because on one hand you have Implosion, Friend of Argus, and then the board with the egg. Whereas on the other side, there's Imp Gang Boss and Direwolf, which are also really powerful as well. So really, really close, actually. I'm struggling to call who's actually really ahead here.
The problem, I think at the moment, Freakeh is ahead with the Flame Imp because he was able to deal some good damage. And then Gaara this turn doesn't really have a great play unless he goes for Coin Implosion right now.
Implosion is awesome. Implosion kills the Flame Imp, and you have multiple minions that can benefit from the Direwolf Alpha next turn and the PO. It's an awesome turn, I think.
Yeah, I like the Coin Implosion here because you don't really care about the Voidwalker, right? It just doesn't really matter at the moment. And plus, Gaara's actually got card advantage as well, so he doesn't need to tap too heavily and can fill out his curve a bit more, whereas looking at Freakey's hand, then yeah, he has Implosion next turn, but then he's got to sort of either draw into something better or run with the Argus, but then he's always going to be tapping to try and catch up.
Well, he has Defender of Argus, exactly, so he might be doing more tempo. But on the other hand, he's risking it.
To
Okay.
be honest, I don't know if I like that. Because only... Like, if you would hit 2, you're in a big pile of trouble, I think. Because you're not triggering your Hunted Creeper, right? And you're... No, maybe it was okay.
And the thing is as well, like, if the Argus comes down on the Voidwalker, it's got 4 health, but as you said, you've got Direwolf.
yeah.
And next turn to sort of power through that.
And the PO.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
I guess it's fine.
I don't think it's like completely. It's going to cause the loss of the game or
No,
anything.
of course.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely an interesting point. And now the Argus comes down on the egg, which is really nice, as there's no silence available to Gaara. And now this Imp Gang Boss is probably just going to push. Is there like any reason to trade here?
The only
pass
reason
up 4
to trade
damage?
is to play around Direwolf Alpha. That's
that's
what
true.
happened.
You called it.
Well, overall in this matchup, in the early stages, it's all about board control. Like the player who takes over the board control just wins. There is no way to come back because suddenly he will just trade into minions, and attack phase for like 1 or 2.
Yeah, because
Next
2
turn-
has no board clear, right? So
Yeah,
there's no
exactly.
way to claw it back.
So whoever gets the board control just wins. That's why the early damage to face doesn't matter much.
This is a tough turn.
It's not easy, that's for sure. I would say that you probably will use one minion to clear the Flamim, then Direwolf Alpha kills the egg, other minion gets the PO and kills the spider.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's probably the best answer because that egg needs to be dealt with.
The problem is you're not doing anything against the defensive Argus that clears the Direwolf Alpha back, and you are in a position that's really hard to answer. Maybe I would just favor the defensive Argus here and not pop the egg. Just, yeah, exactly. Just pass the turn.
But now this opens.
Well, that's a
Implosion.
huge swing. If
Yeah,
you want
'cause
to
you
go
can-
for it.
I like implosions too. Like just kill one of the 2/2s, slam implosion on the 2/2, and go for face with the egg. You still have an egg that needs to get popped. There is only 1 minion on board.
I think the good thing about the Argus is that you can clear the 2 minions, leave say the other defender Argus, but then there's only 1 minion on the board, so it can't proc the egg and kill the 4/4 on the same turn, or you know, unless there's a Doomguard or whatever, which is fine. But you know, like it creates such an awkward situation.
Same with implosion.
Yeah.
I mean, both plays are probably equally good. That's why also Freakeh was thinking about it.
I like this more than the implosion because the egg is a threat itself right now.
Yeah.
Because it has 2 attack. So you can't really ignore it anymore, right? Because it trades for whatever you play on the board unless it's Imp Boss and Sea Giant. and
Yeah,
Doomguard.
actually, talking about Sea Giant, this play is better against the Sea Giant because with implosion, if you hit for 4, it's possible that the Sea Giant is actually being played.
And you have no answer, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. This is definitely a tough turn.
Yeah, still tough for Gaara. So
I mean, he could just play him Gang Boss and then trade, but that doesn't really accomplish too much. Now he has the egg. He might favour to put that down, but again, if he trades with the 2/3, then yeah, he has PO for the egg, but he can't proc the other egg, you know, without it. So he doesn't have an implosion or anything for next turn. So I like the Gang Boss. You need to just start getting tokens on the board that you can actually do something with next turn.
Ooh, that's
another
nice.
withdraw.
Yep. Abusive Surgeon, pop the egg, kill the 1/1,
Yep.
drop the loaded.
And that will probably be it. Because how do you even come back from that?
Especially with the
spells?
cards in hand, there's nothing that... I mean, the Enhanced Mechano does almost nothing at this point because it's 4 mana and you've got 0 minions. Dr. Boom's definitely going to be good next turn, or at least have a chance to claw back. But it might just be 1 turn too late. If you could play it this turn, then maybe, especially with Enhanced Mechano, maybe. But I think this is just too late and just going to be too much damage for Gaara to deal with.
Especially with implosion. in
Gaara
hand.
is playing 2 defensive Argus, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the problem. This is what we talked about, like in the beginning. What I think of the Sea Giant and Cancer Mechano, so because it gets just clunky. It doesn't rely on efficient minions so much as it was before. So you will find yourself in a situation when there's a Direwolf Alpha, cool. It's a 2/2/2, but it relies on board control, and you don't have it right now. Then it's the Cancer Mechano, which is awful in this situation because it doesn't do anything.
Nerubinek and Taunt Nerubinek.
That's the only thing. But it can get Divine Shield, and you're like, okay, that's a cool thing.
This just got awkward. This egg I kind of want to proc's been really durable.
That Nerubinek just doesn't want to get out. So what do I do?
Yeah, so this doesn't look good for Gaara at all.
I really like this play as well. So you just want to clear. Like at this point, look at your board. Like you definitely just want to clear.
Yeah.
Maybe you leave the Gang Boss up. He could clear it off if he wants to.
There's no need actually.
Well, I think you just you give them nothing on the board, right? I think that's the way they're going here. Like you just give them absolutely nothing, and then there's no chance of weird POs, abusives, or other buffs coming down.
That's a good
Gormok.
point, but the 5 damage to the face is so tempting. You put your opponent at 17, and you have left 12, 14, 14, 15 damage, right, on board.
I don't know if you need Creeper here, though. I probably would have tapped.
Sorry, 14.
Well, Creeper is another minion that can trade.
And oh,
Well, so you just trade your minions into Dr. Boom and play your own Dr. Boom.
Seems like an okay play.
You attack with Lothar to face first, though. Oh, that's
you
blood.
don't kill the bombs. I think you just deal the damage to the face, 7 damage. To the
Yeah,
face.
the
That's
two
it.
bombs aren't gonna. The board looks a lot different now. I think where you can afford not to kill the bombs, because they're just what are they actually going to do now? Because you're on so much health and have so much board.
I think it's
and
just
you've got
consistent.
7/7. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to stick to the plan of I will clear the board
Yeah.
every single turn,
And look
then
at
there's,
his
there's
hand.
no way you can lose.
If there will be possible double Wind Fury on those minions, would that be enough? 12, 20. Yeah, if he leaves the bombs, actually double PO on the bombs, Direwolf Alpha, and Enhancer Meccano, if it hits double Wind Fury on the bombs, it's lethal.
I kind of wish he'd left them up now, just so we could have seen what happened, because
I
that would have
would
been a
bring-
crazy.
I would bring my sax music from my phone, to my microphone back if that would happen.
That would be so cool to see, right? That's why being consistent and clearing the board always makes those POs dead. Enhancer Meccano dead. Direwolf Alpha dead.
Yeah.
Gaara dead.
Yeah, and there's literally, I mean, I just don't think there's a draw left. Dark Peddler into, what is it, the tournament attendant?
Tournament
that's
attendant?
That's a
No.
taunt, right?
Tournament winner.
Yeah, tournament attendee.
Oh, attendee. I was close, come on.
Free POs. Just triple PO this guy.
Right,
Where's the R2D2?
Free PO, yeah.
now I just want to see
That was a good
all,
one, I
all
like it.
3 POs onto the Dr. Boom.
Look at has Wind Fury. If he survives one more turn. 12 plus 3 is 15.
15.
He's actually not dead yet.
He can Dark Peddler,
First
though.
Dark Peddler,
Yeah.
right?
Dark Peddler's so good. There's a reason it's in, like,
Amazing
every
card.
Warlock deck.
Yeah, amazing card, and it's so well designed. But
Whoops.
Seeker,
Whoops.
go!
yeah, well, it's a 1 mana 5/5, right? Not bad. Oh,
Oh,
wait,
That-
that's 16,
That's
right?
enough. No,
Oh,
that should
wait.
be enough. I think he was 12. All right.
Yeah, that's enough.
So Gaara had this chance to 24 to damage if like that was even if there was Dire of Alpha surviving, right? What would happen? That would be plus 12, 14, 28.
Out of nowhere.
Right?
Vroom. Right, but that wasn't the case. We'll be having Freakeh
Freakeh
here
for an
on the
interview.
coach, but for Gaara, this is not the end of the tournament. He has 2 wins and 2 losses. So if he wins another one match, the one last round of
You
the
have a
Swiss remaining,
chance.
I guess he has almost a certainty that he will attend day 2. So
All the free tools go through. Yeah, Freakeh, if you can actually go here. We have Freakeh with us.
do you have a microphone?
He doesn't have a mic, but Mike is coming. Mike is coming to Freakeh.
I have no idea if his name is Mike.
Okay. I
Nice.
guess it is now. So Freakeh, first, congratulations. And if you can actually talk to the mic.
Thank you.
So, yeah, that was really well played. And
I mean, it feels good and feels really bad at the same time because it's against Gaara and we are good friends. So
oh, okay.
yeah,
Have you also played double BGH, Kel'Thuzad, and Savage Combatant in your Druid deck?
no, I haven't.
Have you actually noticed that he had Kel'Thuzad? Did
no,
you?
I didn't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a surprise card. He wanted to surprise you with it
Oh.
specifically.
And
Oh.
2 Beckham Hunters.
Yeah, but that we've seen, right? Were
yeah.
you-
Yeah, I know that.
And all right, so what do you think Gaara did not queue his zoo against your Druid?
I don't know actually why I didn't do it. I'm kind of surprised actually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we
were
all
too.
thought
We were
the
like,
same.
so if
Yeah.
it's Zoo, he's just going to queue it, like, favored matchup,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
go
yeah.
from there. But he took the
That's-
Druid mirror.
That's what I thought as well.
So,
So yeah, I'm not surprised.
So maybe he wanted to surprise you that he has the zoo, so you would mulligan away differently
Against
in
Reno.
the last match.
Yeah, probably.
So out of interest, how come you chose the Zoo mirror for the last game as opposed to your Rogue?
I thought it doesn't really matter what I choose because if I lose, I'm still gonna play both decks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I just wanted to.
Not show the rogue exactly how it's built.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Sneaky beaky like.
That makes a lot of sense. And you're probably through with the 3 wins at the moment, right?
I need one more win.
One more win to be super
so wait,
sure.
what's the
I'm
score?
2-2 at the moment.
Oh, you're 2-2.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
Gaara was lined down.
Yeah, he was.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
alright.
It
quite
was the
unfortunate.
elimination match.
For you,
Oh.
for you.
Yeah, if I lose, I'm out, and if he loses, he's out. So yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so Gaara's out now.
I think
Gaara's out.
wasn't Gaara 2-1? Was he 1-2 as well?
He was 1-2.
Oh man, okay. So wow, actually we have to redo the whole match, because we casted it the wrong way.
Oh, well, now I feel stupid.
That's fine though. Freakeh,
No one will
What?
remember.
one more match and you're through.
I will do it.
You do it?
Yeah.
You
I
ready?
feel so. Yeah.
Perfect.
I have to for Gaara.
Okay.
Okay.
You're carrying the weight of Gaara's
Yeah,
hopes
I-
and dreams.
Yeah.
So that's actually pretty heavy, You're carrying a Kofu Zad and double BGH on your back.
Yeah.
And Gaara itself. He's
Yeah,
a big
yeah.
boy.
Yeah, Gaara's tall guy.
And see Giants. Dude.
But I will make it. Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
All right. So I think that was the last match, by the way, the last match of the round 4, which means we will be ready right away into with the round 5.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Freakeh, for joining us on the couch. And I guess we can quickly go to the break and prepare the next match, start the round 5, and get on with more Hearthstone. So stay tuned for more Hearthstone after the break.